TinkerCAD tips. Welcome back. This is TinkerCAD 101, Lesson 4. So today I'm going to go over a couple of different topics, but I do want to note that some of the things that I do here will be various keyboard commands, and if you're curious about those keyboard commands, you can find this. You can just go over to Google and type in TinkerCAD keyboard shortcuts. The very first link you'll find will take you here. They show all of the keyboard commands here, plus you can click on either one of these, which will open a PDF file, which you can send to your printer. So I urge you to come out here and print this up. They will probably be adding some new ones here. For instance, we have this Control-G group. The one that they haven't listed here yet is Control-B, which is the new bundle grouping. So be looking for that update soon. All right, so the first thing I wanted to touch on today is something that I've had people ask me about before, and that's the color of objects as you see them in TinkerCAD. And you'll notice here on all these various shapes, they all have their own colors. But here's the thing. These colors are only meaningful inside of TinkerCAD. They have no bearing whatsoever on what will happen when you go to print this. When you export these to STLs, that color information is not exported with it. This is just here for your frame of reference so that you can see the differences between objects as you have them moved together. For instance, this here, let's move this out of the way, and this right here is actually multicolor. I have these two union grouped together, and right now I have this set for multicolor. If you click on the dialog up here and click on this button, I have it set for multicolor. If I remove multicolor, they're both red. If I ungroup this, you can see how to begin with. One was red, one was white. And when you select and union group these together, I think it's generally the first one or the second one, you can see here the color that it'll be when it gets union grouped together. So right now they're all red, but if you still wanted them displayed in their initial colors, even though they're grouped, you can come up here, click on this, and go to multicolor. So I just wanted to touch on that so everyone is aware of it. So for the rest of this lesson, I want to talk about sizing. Yesterday we touched on moving, and by the way, if you want to see my other tutorials and the prior lessons to this one, just click on my bio. You'll see all of these listed in my bio. You can also click on my TinkerCAD tips playlist and find this and so many more tutorials that I've published over the last 3 years. So one of the basic functions that we can do in TinkerCAD is resizing objects. For instance, I have this pyramid here, and if I click on it, we get these sizing handles. You see these corner markers here? When you hover over them, you get to see the sizes. Let me click on this. 20 millimeters in this direction, 20 in this one. There's even another one up here. If you click on this, this shows you the height. Okay? And when you click on these, and right now my snap grid is set to 1 millimeter, if I grab one of these corners and start pulling, it will resize this in 1 millimeter increments. And of course, if I change this to half, now it'll resize in half millimeter increments. Another way of resizing is by clicking on one of these resizing handles and then typing this number in. Now I want to show you something important here. The direction something is resized is based upon the corner that you choose. So for instance, if I click on this corner and I type in 22, then it's going to expand to the left. If I click on this corner and type in 25, it will expand to the right. Okay? So you're aware of that. Another thing that you get, of course, with resizing here, you can click on this and you can type in here just the same way. 22 millimeters, change the height of that. Now here's another little trick that I've touched on before. resizing by percentage. So for instance, I can select this object, I can click on this, and in here I can type in 110%. So that will increase the size of that by 110%. That's a trick that probably not too many people know about, but can be very handy when resizing things. Okay? Another thing that I wanted to show you is resizing involving the Shift and Alt-Shift commands, all right? So, for instance, I have this pyramid here. If I hold down the Shift key and I grab a corner here, notice that it's resizing equally in two axes, but keeping the right side still. If you notice that, the right side and the back side are moving, just the left side and the forward, okay? If I hold down Alt and Shift and I resize, then all three axes are going to resize, including the height. See that there? That can be a very helpful trick if you want to increase the size of something proportionately. Now, the same holds true with that percentage. If I hold Alt-Shift, I click in one of these corners and I say 110%, enter, all three axes will resize in relation to that 110%. They resize equally. Okay? So that was a pyramid. We can do something here with a square. Now, I do want to note that certain shapes have special dialogue. For instance, a box. And I've seen this quite often where people complain about the radiusing. Now, a box is kind of special in that it has this radius function here. Now, what I want to show you here is you can use this radius to radius the corners of this box. You see how they've become rounded? You can also increase or decrease the number of steps in that radius. By making it higher, you increase the smoothness of that curving, or if you bring it down to 1, you get a bevel, all right? Now, here's the issue of what a lot of people do, and this can be problematic. Let me put the steps back here. Okay, I've got quite a bit of radius here. Do not ever combine using the radiusing dialog with using the sizing handles. And here's why. Notice if I grab one of these sizing handles and begin to stretch this, my radiusing becomes really wonky. Now, in some cases, maybe you want it to do that, all right? I'm going to undo that. If you choose to use a radius or to use parameters within the dialog, make your sizing changes within the dialog. That will keep this radiusing in proportion so that it stays rounded. For instance, if I change the width here, notice that the width is changing, but those radius corners are staying rounded. You can also come in here and click in here and put in an absolute value, like 80. I can change the height to 40, etc. And the radiusing will remain intact. When you begin mixing sizing handles with what you're doing over here in the dialog, things can get a little bit wonky. Now, there's a number of other shapes that also have the same thing, like, for instance, this cylinder here. Number of sides, beveling, okay? Don't combine that with resizing or things will get wonky. So this is about the end of Lesson 4. Hope you enjoyed. As always, like, follow, and repost. Drop me some comments, and if you have ideas for other TinkerCAD tips tutorials, DM me. In the meantime, happy tinkering.